Hi, Doug Franklin again with your teacher prep video number 2 for Project Serve. Who do we serve? This is a really important question, I think, for us as Christ followers. I think oftentimes when we think about who we are to serve, we think of those people that are in need. And that is really true. We are to serve people in need. But we're also expected to serve the least, the lost, and our enemies. It's one thing to say, I'm going to serve those people that are kind to me versus I'm going to serve those people that hate me. And so this kind of service is very difficult, and it must flow out of a relationship with Jesus Christ. And that's the gist of this lesson. We want students not to think of service again as a checklist item or something we do to feel good about themselves. We want them to understand that being a servant is actually very tough to do, because we are called to serve those that are the least in our society, those that are lost, and those that are even our enemies. And so this lesson is going to be a difficult one for us to teach, because we're going to really have to challenge students' thinking. Because I think, again, like we talked about in the last teacher prep video, students are okay with service. In fact, they kind of like doing it. But I'm not so sure they're really willing to be a servant. And I think we've got to continue to make that challenge to them, so that they can begin to change in their mind this idea of doing random acts of kindness to actually spending every day thinking about how others feel, how others will act, how others are concerned, and think about their feelings and what their needs are. And I think for our students and for ourselves, let's be honest, this is very hard to do. So again, we're going to use that structure. We're going to come out of the large group session. You're going to have some great questions. There's then going to be a case study in the second look, some ideas to give this a little bit of flesh so students can understand what we're talking about. There's then that go deeper section. We're going to look at some really good passages. There's going to be another experiential learning tool for you to use, and then an application time, and then those devotions again. So this whole lesson is laid out so that you can be really transformational with students and use that time that you're given in a powerful way. I do want us to look together, at the meat of this lesson and look at this passage in Luke. Luke 6 there's a number of passages in this lesson, but this passage is really where the meat is. And let me just read a few verses of this. Luke 6:32-33. If you love those who love you, what credit is that to you? Even sinners love those who love them. And if you do good to those who are good to you, what credit is that to you? Even sinners do that. But love your enemies and do good to them and lend to them without expecting anything back. Then your reward will be great, and you will be children of the Most High, because he is kind to the ungrateful and wicked. That's a tough verse to listen to, because I realize I'm the unkind and I'm the wicked. And I think for our students, they've got to grasp this concept. It's really easy to do good to those that we like, or those that are super appreciative, or those that rub us on the head and say thank you. It's a much more different thing to serve that other student at school who's very different from you, who's actually said mean things about you, who's actually maybe even bullied you. And I think that's what we've got to do as facilitators of this lesson, is we got to bring this to life. God has rescued and redeemed us when we were ungrateful and when we were wicked. He's transformed us into people that are in his image, and he has poured grace upon us. And our students, they need to wrestle with this concept. It's happened for them through Jesus Christ. Are they now willing to become servants like Christ and do that for other students that they know? Students that even have been mean to them. And I think that we've got to find creative ways to challenge students and to repeat that challenge through this lesson. Because hearing it one time, our students can go, oh, yeah, and they can push it off to the side. But really being confronted with this idea that Christ has done this for us, and that we are challenged by Christ, called by Christ, commanded by Christ to go and do the same thing for other people. This is a challenging lesson to teach, and I know this will be a little bit difficult for you, but I encourage you to share something from your own life, from your own redemption story. Maybe it was a struggle. Maybe it was something that you didn't do well. Maybe it was a failure. But we've got to find a way to connect to students' hearts on this issue. This is where the battleground of this whole Project Serve lesson is. Who do we serve? Who has Christ served, and who are we called to serve? And when we do this, I think this is going to be transformational for our students. And so I really want to challenge you with this. Be really ready to go deep into the application so that students will really think about what they need to change about their behavior in order to become a servant of all.